Welcome to Tea Time on Tatooine, bringing fans together from galaxies far, far away. I'm your host, Anna Trumbo, here with
Nick.
This is Nick, my co-reviewer for the season finale of Acolyte Season 1. Oh my gosh, this was everything I wanted and more.
So many payoffs.
So many payoffs. And a lot of things that it kind of left open-ended, which, I mean, thank God, because this was a big part of what we talked about, I think, last week. Yeah, last week where we were talking about the problem with like modern television versus the way it was before, where you'd have a pilot and then they'd order like 7 seasons off of a single episode. And now the entire first season is the pilot.
Yep.
And maybe you'll get one more episode, or one more season, but probably not more than that. But this clearly sets up for another season. I was really afraid they were going to do we're going to wrap everything up, but leave it open in case we get picked up. It's like, no.
I mean, also back to that argument last week, this whole season could have been an hour and a half. It could have been a really strong hour and a half.
Hard disagree.
I still, this last episode was fucking awesome.
It was really good. I think it was the best one so far.
100%.
Which is wonderful. I think, oh man, there's so much. You
took notes.
I did take some notes. I usually do.
There's a lot to take notes on.
So I didn't start taking notes till further in, which I guess is a good sign because it means I was like really wrapped up. So my first note is Plagueis.
Fucks, yes.
Yes, because that was him, unless they're going to be like, well, it could have been any Mun character on an island that clearly is deeply connected to the Sith. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, no, it's definitely him. Definitely him.
Yep.
I think this is I feel very confident this is the first time we've seen him in live action. I don't think we've seen him in any of the cartoons. I don't know if there's comic content with him. I think it's just the book, which is now no longer considered canon. So this is like his big premiere.
Welcome to canon, motherfucker.
I mean, he's discussed. Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis?
I've heard that before, yeah.
It was a bedtime story. My mom told me every night to put me to sleep.
Absolutely.
It's just so calming and relaxing.
Puts me at ease.
But his whole thing that he's known for is creating life and extending life and somehow creating life from the Force, whether that is to create it from nothing or to keep someone from dying. All of that comes from him. So this is very on brand for him.
Which kind of begs the question, did he learn how to do that from the Coven, or did he teach the Coven how to do it?
So he was very booky, and I guess like being into all these different studies, like transferring your consciousness from one place to another, all of these different things that he would study kept him distracted. So it was easy for Palps to swing in and like. Another thing that there's just so much content out there for Star Wars as far as books and comics and extended universe versus canon that there's so many things that I can't like with 100% certainty say, well, we've never seen this before. I don't think we've ever seen the bleeding of a kyber crystal before.
I can't think of that.
Actually, definitely not in live action.
Right. It may have happened in some video games.
Probably not in the cartoons, possibly books or comics. But like that is my understanding of how a Sith,
it was so cool,
or not just a Sith, how a dark Force user, a dark side Force wielder, gets their lightsaber to turn red, is they
hate so
committing
much.
An ultimate act of hatred and darkness while holding, but not using necessarily. I don't know if that's like
holding a crystal or holding a lightsaber.
Holding something. I think if she held the crystal, it would be the same outcome.
Yeah. Okay.
I think holding either a crystal or a receptacle with a crystal in it, aka a lightsaber handle, will turn it red. It will bleed it with hate and twist it into something different. Similarly, I don't know how this process works, but it's what Ahsoka did with, I want to say, Ninth Brother's Inquisitor blades. She killed him, she took his blades, and she purified them.
That's why her sabers became white.
That's why they're white. Yeah, okay. Yes, exactly. They were probably blue or green or purple or yellow prior to being red. And, okay. And then they're white. White is like the... anyway.
White is the I feel nothing.
I fear nothing. Mm-hmm. No, I guess white is the I am no Jedi. It's just... no one can have white. Anyway.
Love it. Okay.
Anyway, this was so cool. The second...
so much happened.
As she's doing it, and the second you see what happens inside the lightsaber, I was just like, holy shit, she's bleeding the crystal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was... And when she holds it out, all I could think was it looks like one of those frozen
like a rocket pops.
Yes.
Yes.
Right when the red is halfway up, I was like, that's a rocket pop. Anyway, I'm very immature. It was so cool. I felt like a little kid.
So much happened though. Like we should back up. So this started off with the stranger needing Osha to get him to May.
Yes.
Which wound up being on Brandok. That wasn't too big of a stretch. You probably could have figured that out at some point.
Well, and they can feel each other. As we know now, they are the same person.
They are, which I kept having to remind myself, like, right, they are the same person.
But then how did Osha not know that? How did neither of them know the other was alive for those 16 years?
That's a tremendous question. I don't know. But I think what's in my mind more so is they're the same person. They're split into... Are they just light side, dark side of each other, of each other's personas?
Well, clearly not, because they've both exhibited heavy dark side use.
Well, I mean, and this brings me to like my biggest question, I think, is like, you know, May, because she, if they are light side, dark side personas of the same consciousness, then May was always kind of leaning dark side, which is why it's so easy for her to slip into it. The stranger even said, you know,
she didn't hesitate.
She didn't hesitate with this question.
Yeah.
And I think May is more powerful because she turned. Well,
she was also given the witch magic. She was...
Oh, excuse me, Osha. Sorry. Maybe back up.
Osha.
I think Osha is more powerful because she turned further than May. I think May was already kind of 1 foot plus in the dark side.
Yeah.
And Osha was the light side persona. And because she let that anger and fear turn her, she's come further. And that's why she has so much more power. And I think that's why he chose her and she chose to go with him.
Maybe. Yeah, I see that argument. I think... I mean, May was really never able to get dark enough to figure out how to kill a Jedi without a weapon, because it's pretty. I mean, if you don't think too hard about it, it's really obvious. It's like we see Darth Vader force choke someone to death in A New Hope. Like,
you
it's
mean
one
May
of the,
didn't see A New Hope?
It's the first. It's one of the first, because I don't even think we. And now I need to go back and revisit this. I don't even think we see Darth Vader fuck people up in the hallway of the ship in A New Hope until Rogue One.
No.
So I think the first act of violence that we see him commit is force choking that guy to death. So it should be really obvious. And I was kind of kicking myself until a few episodes ago when I figured out, like, oh, right, you can use the force to kill someone without a weapon. Duh. That it just didn't occur to May. She just wasn't deeply enough tapped into the dark side.
And May wasn't trained, or Osha wasn't trained to do it. I think she just finally gave in to so much anger towards Saul.
It came to her naturally.
It just came to her.
Yeah.
So that's what I think, like, her making that turn from being the light side persona, if that's the case.
Yeah.
I think she just turned further.
Yeah.
And got more anger. And I think that's why she was able to do that.
I think it made sense that they all went back to Brandok. Like, it all started there. It had to all end there.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. Venestra and the Senator, I have never heard it put more succinctly. Like, when we watched that and he gave his little speech about, like, I think the Jedi is a very powerful institution masquerading as a religious order, a cult. They operate without any sort of oversight, yada, yada, yada. It's like, I couldn't have put it better myself.
Absolutely.
100%
Totally described evangelical
based.
Christians.
Fucking love it. Who are you? You're amazing. You should be in charge.
Absolutely.
And I really like Venestra too. I mean, she's a character that I know and care about from High Republic, as we have discussed.
I came around a bit more on Venestra's side because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he was, what do the kids say? He was spitting straight facts.
No cap.
No cap. And I still somehow exited that scene liking her more, even though he was 100% in the right.
Yep.
She was just kind of a bad bitch. Like, is that it? Are you done? Do you have anything else? Bye. Force opens the door. I do like that casual use of the Force. Like, I could fuck you up.
Yeah. Just remember.
Remember. Yeah. She's hardcore. I do like that they keep making reference to her, what happens to her in hyperspace. And he's kind of digging at her like, oh, is your stomach okay? She's like, it's my head, but thank you. Like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know the difficult visions of dead people that come to me when I travel through hyperspace. Thank you very much. It's a little traumatic.
Yeah.
But a few episodes back, I think, it was when we see his back and the injury that looks like it was probably made by a whip, possibly. Yeah. And I've mentioned that it could have been her former Padawan, Imri, who was on the Starlight Beacon when it fell 100-ish years prior to the events of the Acolyte. And he's presumed dead. I mean, corpses were never recovered for many, many people who were on Starlight Beacon. So, but it's a safe assumption it falls from outer space into the water. Everyone's probably dead. But Chimere, Imri, all the same letters, just add a Q, shuffle a couple things around. He would be very, very, very old. But if he is Darth Plagueis's Padawan, or I guess they don't say Padawan in Sith, I guess just be apprentice, I'm sure he's figured out a way to prolong his life and prolong his youth and vitality. So that tracks.
Okay.
I think that's him. She has confirmed that she knows him.
Yeah, I thought that whole interaction was kind of crazy.
Like, where she's like, you.
Yeah, he had alive. His helmet off, and then he sensed her, and she was like, you.
Yep.
And he threw that helmet on. That made me think like, oh, you're not doing this because you're stronger. You're fucking scared.
Oh yeah, he's scared of her.
You are scared.
He's frightened.
You are hiding.
Her. Yeah. She's incredibly powerful.
Okay.
I'm excited to see her really get to like shine and maybe do some fighting. It makes sense that wouldn't happen in this season, and I'm not bummed about it. We got to see the whip with the bug. Like, that was a nice little,
I think that was just a hint of what she's capable
they're connected.
of. Yeah.
But she straight up confirms to May. She directly, word for word, quotes Obi-Wan in New Hope, who was a pupil of mine before he turned to evil. I liked that. I thought that was a nice little nod to OG Obi. But she said he was a pupil of mine. So I don't know who else it could be other than Imri.
You know what nod I did not like? Is I'll see you in hell, Jedi. That's the dumbest line that Han says. Then I'll see you in hell.
Oh.
It's like, there's hell in the galaxy far, far away?
A few times. They've said it multiple times in Acolyte. They say it in The Mandalorian.
I hate it.
It's the only...
I hate it.
I guess because Han set it up as precedent, it's one of the only like swear words that you can really say in Star Wars that
now there's hell in Jedi in the Star Wars. Like, ugh.
There's been hell in Star Wars since the original trilogy.
Yeah, it was dumb the original time, and now it's just been like, oh, we can say this now.
You would prefer they'd say Dake Ferrick.
What?
That's what Mando says when he's swearing. Dank Ferrick, whatever.
Oh, right. No, it's kind of dumb too.
Yeah, there are a bunch. There's a Criff or Criffing. Oh, that's so Criffing annoying. That's another one from the comics that Keeve would always say. She had a bunch. She had a really filthy mouth. She was full of all sorts of like galactic swear words that were not. So I guess hell is the only overlap. There's like a bunch, there's Criffing and Ferric and some other stuff, and then hell. So yes, that was confirmed. Her former pupil had to have been Imri. I would assume, who fucking knows. I told you Yoda wasn't going to show up, and if he was, he would just be like referenced or whatever. And then when she is calling and you're like, who was that? I was like, it's got to be Yoda.
Oh, didn't she reach somebody?
She reached somebody and they said like, oh, you can't reach him. She said, I know he's not there.
Okay.
But I need to reach him.
Okay.
And Yoda's been on an off sabbatical for the last century or so. Like he's kind of gone and then he comes back during High Republic times, like when the great catastrophe happens in the Legacy Run disaster and everything breaks apart in hyperspace and kills a bunch of people. He shows back up, but then I guess he leaves again. And she calls him back. So that was cool that we got a little, great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think now that opens another door of like, we know that Ki-Adi-Mundi did not know about a Sith. I mean, the Sith hasn't been mentioned.
She successfully covered that whole shit up. She covered the whole shit up.
Yeah. What does she tell Yoda? Does she lie to him too? Or does she tell him, here's what I've done to save our asses. Here's what happened.
I need to tell somebody.
Yeah.
I cannot be the only person who knows this stuff.
I can't imagine Yoda knowing the truth and keeping that secret and not coming forward once like Phantom Menace and Clone Troopers or Revenge of the Sith, that happens.
He finds out that the Sith were behind the creation of the clone army and doesn't tell anybody.
True.
He finds out and he says, tell others we should not. The clones have fought bravely for us. They've proven their loyalty. I think we just should play this out and see what happens.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh, that's rough. People are going to be angry about that. Who haven't really thought about that.
Yeah. I know I went on my whole, like, I did a little minute and a half TikTok rant about Ki-Adi-Mundi. I stand by my earlier assertion that he's a dick, who has no loyalty and is short-sighted and dumb, and I don't like him. I'm no longer angry that he was saying what he said about the Sith. I got all on my high horse and like, well, he said it, Phantom Menace, yeah. And then realized, you know what? It's a TV show. I'm sure they're going to explain it. I should just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Still
Take
think
that,
he's
trolls.
Still think he's a dick.
Yeah.
Oh, can I tell you my TikTok troll story today?
No, you have another one. Okay. Yeah. What happened today?
It wasn't really even that bad of an insult, but I did a little video that was like, I'm excited for Acolyte. Here are my last minute predictions. And I was walking around the block of my
very
office.
Innocuous, no like giant innocuous proclamations.
No, just like, last minute predictions. Soul's going to take the fall. Vanestra and the guy are connected, and Osha's going to do something really bad. Those were my final 3 predictions. All 3 of which
from
came
last week.
True. Yeah. But it was just like,
right. All 3 of those happened.
All 3 of those came true. But someone commented, this is 100% what I would imagine an Acolyte fan to look like. Which I know was meant to be insulting.
Okay, I have to assume, was this a troll bro person?
Private profile, private account, no profile picture. So yeah. So
they really tried to be sexist and kind of like came across as fuzzy on it.
Well, so it really just didn't land, I think, the way they wanted it to. I know it was supposed to be an insult, but my response was,
you like a smoking hot, like nerdy girl like me?
I didn't go quite that far, but I said, oh, you mean cool as hell?
Yeah.
Then yeah, absolutely. And a bunch of people liked that. And then one person commented, because private account, no profile picture is 100% what I would think a toxic Star Wars fan would look like.
Fuck you, bot.
Which I really liked. Okay, someone else commented, Cry about it, Cupcake. We exist and we just love Star Wars, period. Also, it's not just young fans. I'm pretty sure I've been watching Star Wars since before you were born, Randy Savage wannabe, because the guy's name was Randy Savage, who commented. I forgot about that part. Cry about it, Cupcake.
Oh my God.
And my response to that guy was, oh my God, did you just call me young?
Aw, what a sweetheart.
What a sweetheart. That's just, thank you for calling me
day
young.
in the life of a TikToker.
Oh, I'm still so new to TikTok. I'm just figuring out all this shit out. But I think it's hilarious to respond to trolls. And it's nice when other people get in the comments. So for other people who have been on TikTok, this is not novel to them. For me, this is very novel and like, oh, nice. Back to Acolyte. Venestra also clearly has that power that Ahsoka has, where if she's in a place where something happens, she can kind of sense the history of that place and different things. Ahsoka's done it a couple of times, but she did it when she was on Brandok. She could hear the conversation that had just happened as well as the one that had happened 16 years prior.
And it felt like she wasn't the only one, because a lot of the other Jedis seem to be like kind of looking around and like responding. Like maybe this is a fairly common
also it was
gift
steeped in the dark side. Well, I don't actually, that seems kind of reductive to just say that the witches were dark side wielders. It was steeped in powerful force magic.
Yeah, for sure.
It had a lot of history, a lot of force had been used.
I mean, it's
there.
a source of emergence. Like emergence is happening there. So, yeah.
They're very clearly like on edge. It's probably like dogs hearing high-pitched whistle.
High-pitched whistles.
Dogs hearing high-pitched whistles and stuff like that. Something else I had a note about a dog. Oh, Basil barks like a dog. I don't know why I don't like Basil much. Just let him live, right? Like, I'm sorry, dude.
Just put the otter back in the lake.
Just put him back in the lake. I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. I'm over it. If that's the only thing I was bummed about was fucking Basil, then that's fine.
I don't think that's going to be the high-selling doll that Disney thinks it's going to be.
I don't think so either. Oh, something else that I noticed is the Chimere's, the Stranger's lightsaber that, his like that detaches, is a really good weapon to use against a whip.
Yeah, you kind of like get it tangled up in one of them, and you got the other one.
Yep, you've got little leverage there. Yeah. I think that was intentional.
Probably.
And that he made it that way to counter that exact weapon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm also a little fuzzy on, and I guess, the more I think on it and sleep on it, I'll probably change my mind or have different thoughts come up. But May does not fight to keep them together.
No.
And she fought when she was in the forest, heading to Kelnaka, she was like, I am going to give up everything that I have worked for however long I've been with Chimere, up to potentially 16 years on this path. I'm going to give all of that up and just go to Osha. I'm going to give myself up. I'm going to face arrest. I'm going to turn you over. Not that she knew who he was at the time. I don't think we
were big fans of that.
We weren't.
Rash decision either.
We were not fans of that rash decision. But regardless, she made it, and she made it truly from her heart. And then when Osha's like, if you let May go, I'll go train with you. May's not like, no, we're going together. Yeah. There was no fight. It was just like, are you sure? And then I'll erase your memory. I haven't witnessed such a powerful Jedi mind erase trick.
No, I mean, backing up real quick, I don't know. Maybe May knows that they can't go together for some reason. I don't understand why she wasn't saying like, let's just go together and train.
Yeah, same. That's what I'm saying.
Like, not just like, let's just stay together. Like, fuck the stranger, fuck the Jedi. Let's just go be together. But why can't the three of them go off and continue training?
Well, it's not the power of two. So I think May probably knew that Chimere wouldn't allow that to happen.
But there wasn't even a desire for it.
What do you mean? Oh, from her?
From her, yeah.
But his whole thing, what do you want when that has been asked of him, is the power of 2. And she's been with him long enough to know that's not a power of 3. So she knows there's no room for 3 in this equation. I don't know why she didn't fight to just go off and be with me.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they could have made that much clearer had one of them been like, can't I come? And
I guess.
somebody just say it out loud. Just the thing. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, yeah, I don't think you're wrong. They could have been a little clearer with that. But it was interesting that she didn't fight after this entire season has been her fighting for Osha, fighting for her in the flashbacks. If we can't be together, I'd rather see you dead.
Yeah.
And then she just kind of lets her go. But earlier in the season, someone else, I think it might have been one of those dumb other prisoners on the prison ship with Osha in like the first episode, where they're like, oh, I don't want you to wipe my mind like the Jedi do, or don't do your Jedi thing to wipe my mind.
Was that said?
I'm trying to remember. I might now be conflating
Was it just Jedi
with,
mind? Don't use your Jedi mind tricks or something?
No, I might be conflating it with something that I recently read.
Okay.
It might be like from a comic.
Cut this part out then.
Yeah. But that was something really powerful. I mean, he cut just very quickly, completely wiped Osha's existence from May's memory. And I know,
thinking about like what we just talked about cutting, you saying that doesn't make sense. Like it makes sense after like what we just talked about cutting.
But I was talking about it before, that it was a very powerful mind trick. And I haven't seen that happen before.
The powerful mind. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So I was picking up where we left off. But yeah, we haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
That was ridiculously powerful.
Force amnesia. Yeah.
Force amnesia. I mean, we've seen mind tricks work on like smaller scales, but to completely erase arguably the most important person from your entire memory in existence, and everything, and the last however many years that they were together training, erasing him from her memory as well. That's really quick.
That's not just a manipulative like parlor trick.
No, that's not, you didn't see me. These are not the droids you're looking for. It was just like, no, I'm going to change your entire history.
Yeah. That was big.
Yeah, that was really big.
Yep.
Venestra's dress.
Oh, in the last scenes? Yeah.
Was awesome. It was interesting. The like epaulets she had they looked a little like the Jedi symbols, but the way the shapes were, it looked a lot like the New Republic and the Rebel Alliance.
That white painting right there?
The white painting one is here, can you grab it? So I can show it on camera. And then the one next to it. So
cut from commercial.
This one is
hang on. Sorry. Okay. Back in commercial.
This one is the Jedi Order.
Yes.
This one is the New Republic.
Okay.
But this also was the Rebel Alliance symbol without the little stars around it.
Oh.
So it was these colors, the white and gold, and it did have the like, little you could wings. Kind of see the wings, but there was no star in the middle. And the shape of the thing was more along the lines of that. I just thought that was an interesting, like,
yeah.
The costuming in this has been so on point and so beautiful. Nothing's done without intention. And so I'm sure there's some sort of intention behind why the symbols on her dress looked the way they did.
It did look great.
She looked like a goddamn queen.
Her little office looked, it looked very Star Trek-y. It looked like a Star Trek office.
I have not seen enough Star Trek to confirm or deny that, or to argue one way or another, but you have, so I will cede to your expertise.
Yeah, remind me of that.
There's a lot more personality in the Jedi, like, accoutrement.
Yeah.
They're not quite as plain Jane as they are in like prequel era. They're not, yeah, they're a little more pizzazzy. But her dress was insane. It was such a stark difference from like anything we've seen a Jedi wear, regardless of gender or stature within the council.
Yeah, giving Mon Mothma vibes.
But like not Mon Mothma Rebel Alliance leader, Mon Mothma senator.
Yeah.
Yeah. And chancellor.
Yep.
Yeah. But something else. Yeah. One of the things that I called that bummed me out, but makes sense, was Soul taking the fall for everything.
Yeah, no, you called that out pretty early, and that made so much sense. Was spot on.
But you could also see that it hurt her to do it. Like, she wasn't doing it to cover her own ass. She was doing it to protect the order, which she truly, I think, believes is the right thing to do. I don't think she's doing it out of any sinister motive. I think the whole Jedi are just, they've got a massive blind spot for themselves, and they cannot view themselves as the bad guys, even in a hypothetical. Like they are always the good guys. They are always the knights in shining armor, and everything that they do is to perpetuate that reality. There's no,
I don't know if I would go that far. Like she knows that they fucked up. They made mistakes.
But everything she's doing now is to perpetuate
the idea
yeah. of them being the good guys.
Yeah. I feel like this is some like LA Confidential, like we take care of our own shit, and like,
yeah, the Jedi
Batman
are cops
as well. Like, it's not the hero Gotham needs or whatever.
They're cops.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. That's just for better or for worse. The music in this, I just love. I love Michael Abels. I have loved him since Get Out. I think that was the first movie with his music that I've seen. He does horror so well. So much of the score of the show is horror music.
Yeah.
And at the very end, when they are standing kind of by the water and you see close up of their face and the music swells, the second the shot changes to show them from behind, I looked to you and held up my arm and was like, I have goosebumps. Yeah. It was really good. The music was so good. I was thinking a lot about the song from last week and thinking it's the first time they like used.
That was so weird.
No, it was amazing.
It was kind of weird.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
They used an original pop song written for Star Wars. It was called The Power of Two.
Yeah.
It was like about them. It was it kind of implied that like while they can meet, they can never really like be together. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really meaningful for that episode, because that's where we find out about them more. And initially I was like, well, if they did that for the second to last episode, they've got to do something like crazy for the last episode. And then I realized, no, they don't. That fit that episode. It wouldn't have fit this episode. But I did a little TikTok talking about that song and was like, it's the first time an original piece of music has been, like a song has been used. And I was corrected. There is a Mongolian metal band that created original music for a video game.
What?
Yes. They are called The Who, H-U. And they are a Mongolian heavy metal band, and they do music for at least a song for Fallen Order.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I stand corrected. As far as live action,
not a pop song.
Also not a pop song, but a song with lyrics that's not choral, like Duel of the Fates or Battle of the Heroes.
Okay.
So very cool. Michael Abels, man, that score tonight was
good
just
shit. It's really good.
Good shit. I mean, Star Wars continues to bring it with the music.
Yeah.
That's really one area in which they can't do wrong. Even aside from Rogue One, which we have discussed not being fans of the music of Rogue One, even the shows with like okay music are still like really,
Really good.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really, really good. So yeah, I loved it. I love that they're setting up for season 2. I would have been really bummed if they did that cop out, like everything's wrapped up, but we could leave it open. No, just
Yep.
go all in, go to the wall.
Yeah, no, I think it's set up perfectly. And if it's not renewed for a season 2, I still think it works.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's hard to tell like what's rumor and what's confirmed.
Yeah.
But I think it, regardless, like if this is it, we now have another step towards Phantom Menace and towards Palpatine.
I mean, they can just keep going.
They can just keep going though,
which is great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know Leslie Headland has said that she has in her head, she has the steps to how to get to Palpatine and Anakin.
Yes. Yes.
So we'll see.
And everything that I've seen, like every post that talks about that, the comments are so horrendously upsetting. Like, please God, don't let that happen. Take it away from her.
Take it easy, cupcakes.
Oh my gosh. Take it easy, cupcakes. Leslie Headland was answered some questions on Star Wars Explained earlier this week. Possibly yesterday. So I'm going to be watching that tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that for sure. Anyone who says that she's not a fan can suck it. She's clearly a fan. She clearly has her bona fides.
Yep.
She knows what she's talking about.
Also consulting the fucking man, the George Lucas, on everything. Like he's been involved every step of the way, along with Dave Filoni. Like this isn't just some.
Yeah, Dave Filoni does have like
some girl director out to like here do something with Star Wars and just like let her go wild.
We're gonna be woke and
oh my God.
DEI and
melting cupcakes around the world.
Yeah, are we just going to say cupcakes now?
Yes.
I love that. I know. Thank you so much, TikTok guy. Yes. And thank you for calling me young. It was so nice. I loved it. Well, I guess that's it for these weekly reviews for now. I would like to try and bring them back next show that comes out, which I think is Skeleton Crew.
I think that's right.
But yeah, so we'll be back when the next show comes out. My next interview episode of Tea Time on Tatooine comes out on Monday, the 22nd of July. I am interviewing Marianne Brandon, who was the film editor for episodes 7 and 9, Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker. And she is very cool. And she came here and sat where you're sitting. And I tried really hard to be cool and not like,
I hope she brought the tea. I hope she brought the tea. Oh my God.
She brought a decent amount of tea.
Okay,
she was very diplomatic about a few things, but
nice.
It was excellent. So yeah, that is coming out. Follow me on Instagram, Tea Time on Tatooine, on TikTok, teatime.on.tatooine. Email me at email me at teatimeontatooine@gmail.com. If you have any questions, any other suggestions or feedback for content that we could put out for you, things that we could put on a potential Patreon that does not exist yet, but it takes a lot of time and effort and money to do this, and possibly that's something we will set up in the next few weeks or months. Yes, I have been your host, Anna Trumbo. This is...
You can say my name. It's fine.
Yeah, but I'd like you to introduce yourself. You have a voice.
My name is Nick Griffith. I'm the husband.
You are the husband. And remember, the Force will be with you always. Bye.
Bye.